In the last couple of years, many people have declared that American football is in crisis, as former players are suffering from brain damage in increasing numbers. Numerous studies have linked brain damage to concussions, and since 2009, the number of concussions has jumped almost 70%, even as the league has made rule changes to try to solve the problem. Maybe rule changes alone won't do the trick. Are there other ways to save the game and make it safer for players? We could start by ditching the helmets, or at the very least by making them flimsier. Do I sound crazy? Wouldn't head injuries be worse without the protection of helmets? Maybe not. Over the same period that helmets and other equipment have become stronger and more protective, concussions have actually increased. And studies comparing the NFL to the helmet-free Australian Football League indicate that NFL players are 25% more likely to suffer from concussions than the Australian players. One possible explanation is what economists call moral hazard. When we try to insure people against the consequences of negative outcomes, we reduce their incentive to avoid those outcomes of their own accord. So by trying to soften the bad outcome, we actually make that outcome more likely. Think about the football helmets. The better that they protect players' heads, the more players may feel invulnerable, and the more they might use their heads as weapons, given how protected they supposedly are. Today's players are more aggressive and more likely to tackle with their heads, and hence they suffer from more concussions than players did 10 or 20 years ago. Moral hazard doesn't just affect football. It has important implications for public policy. It's often a big reason why all kinds of laws and public policies that are meant to make us safer can actually have the opposite effect. For example, how should we reduce car accidents and injuries? We can mandate airbags and seatbelt use, but some studies show that this leads to people driving more aggressively because they now feel safer. A recent study from Texas A&M shows that the introduction of mandatory seatbelt laws led to higher car accident fatality rates among non-occupants, such as bicyclists and pedestrians. An Australian study found that drivers of large SUVs were more likely to engage in risky cell phone use while driving, perhaps because they believed the SUVs made them safer. Seatbelts and airbags do indeed make people safer, but they might cause us to take risks we wouldn't have before. And those risks might cause harm that offsets some of those gains. The point is, increasing safety is tough, and you always have to pay attention to the incentives you're creating. Getting rid of fancy helmets might not be the whole solution to the NFL's concussion crisis, but it's worth considering. Making players just a bit more conscious of their own vulnerability and that of their opponents might reduce the number and severity of concussions. People might say this makes the game less fun to watch, but how much fun is football to watch when the star players are constantly being injured or deciding that they don't want to risk their long-run health by playing the game? Incentives matter, and even policies that try to make us safer can be bad for our health. If you'd like to learn more about economics and football, check out my Learn Liberty Academy program.